Hellraiser novel, The Hellbound Heart. A case study. Stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you my lament configuration. What's inside of it? If you're a fan of the Hellraiser films, I highly suggest The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. It's a very quick read, and every page is a more hardcore look at the same story as the first film. If you already have a copy of this version of the book, you can follow along with me because I'm going to be giving you guys the page numbers. Everyone turn to page 2 in your hymns. Music is an integral part of the narrative, so much so that it's more of an actual character which lives and breathes within the universe of Pinhead and his cenobites. Within this universe, the plot, nay, Pinhead herself, would not be able to move forward into our plane of existence, our world, our universe, without music. Let's jump into the text and we'll examine examples as we go. I've got every example of music used in the book, so that's another reason to stick around until the end of the video. I'm on page 2, and this is where the music begins. We are introduced to the maker of the lament configuration, Lamarchant. Lamarchant, who had been in his time a maker of singing birds, had constructed the box so that opening it tripped a musical mechanism which began to tinkle a short rondo of sublime banality. And with each solution, each new half twist or pull, a further melodic element was brought into play. The tune counterpointed and developed until the initial caprice was all but lost in ornamentation. This is the part in the book where we are introduced to the lament configuration, the mechanism that pulls Pinhead and the other cenobites from their home elsewhere in existence. It's created by this man Lamarchant, who made singing birds and probably jewelry boxes. It starts off by playing a charming little ditty. Head bobber. As you work through completing the puzzle, the music becomes more complex. The banality evolves into a full-fledged musical composition. Without the listener realizing it, the music has taken a dark, ominous tone.
Let's keep reading.
Page 3 is where we see Frank opening the box. At some point in his labors, the bell had begun to ring, a steady, somber tolling. Okay, he had not heard, at least not consciously. But when the puzzle was almost finished, the mirrored innards of the box unknotted, and he became aware that his stomach churned so violently at the sound of the bell, it might have been ringing half a lifetime. He looked up from his work. For a few moments, he supposed the noise to be coming from somewhere in the street outside. But he rapidly dismissed that notion. It had been almost midnight before he had begun to work at the bird maker's box. Several hours had gone by, hours he would not have remembered passing but for the evidence of his watch. So this is basically in the witching hour. Since then, there was no church in the city, however desperate for adherents that would ring a summoning bell at such an hour. The witching hour. The music here is causing confusion and emotional reaction. Despite the occult practices he is currently performing, he is unaware of what he is hearing. The idea that this could be church bells is particularly amusing. Clive, were you making a jab in that line? Page 5 in your hymns, ladies and gentlemen. But now, as the sound of the bell became louder, drowning out the music box, he was afraid. So here on page 5 in your paperback copy, Frank is starting to panic as things start to come unglued. Reality is ripping apart at the very space-time continuum. I can almost see the cenobites breaking through that brick wall, crawling out of their part in outer space as the pounding, horrific bell tolls. Moving further in the novel, page 14, the air that broke against his eardrums was a hurricane, and among other horrors, snatches of songs. Frank's torture has now begun. He is experiencing sensory overload, both good and bad, and music is part of this cacophony, one of the many moving parts of this atrocity. Page 27, now the protagonist is losing track of how fast the days had gone. For as she stood there, a bell began to ring for evensong. The rise of chimes rising and falling, lazy waves. The sound was reassuring. It's reassuring. So the bells are continuing through this portion of the story, becoming more and more ominous as the story moves forward. So we're focusing more on the box again, guys. Now we're on page 60 of the Hellbound Heart. Yet another was made by a craftsman, a maker of singing birds, called lament, in the form of a musical box of such elaborate design, a man might toy with it half a lifetime and never get inside. And if you're already middle-aged, you're screwed. This could be referring to our obscurity. This could be referring to the obscurity when it comes to our relationship with music. Even a creator of any kind of art. A person could experience art without really knowing what went into the making of the art itself. That kind of plays a really vital part of the story of lament in this novel. We never find out why he made the box. And ultimately it's not really important. And I think that's a valid point when listening to music. Interesting. Page 80, she's telling she's whispering to him. There's a lot of audible parts of this book too. It's all right, she whispered to him. Then to Rory, I'll be with you in a minute. Put on some music. Something soothing. Rory replied that he would and retired to their lounge. I have to go, she replied, hearing the music from below. So here we have it again, where music is moving the story, the plot forward with a distraction. With everything going on with these people, I'm not sure that any song could soothe the horror, the savage beast going on within the souls of these people. It makes you very uncomfortable reading this.
Page 132.
There was music too. A simple tune emerged. We're getting this reiterating how the music box connects the worlds together. A tune. This is on page 132 again. A simple tune emerges from the box, played on a mechanism that she could not see. Enchanted, she delved further. The victory is rewarded with a further filigree added to the tune. Then she hears the bell. The bell still rang, a solemn ring. So, the opening of the box is the real bread and butter, what Hellraiser fans really are there to see. And we've gotten this description laid out a little differently over multiple circumstances. The song puts the opener of the box in a trance, it seems, and then suddenly the bell has them trapped, incapable of beating their obsession at that point. This is what I find really interesting, and it's something that the movies and the novels never really explain exactly where the cenobites are from. Are they from a different dimension, a parallel universe? Are they aliens? Are they from the actual Christian Judeo hell? This is something I'm kind of along the lines that maybe they're aliens. I do like the transdimensional beings one too, or the actually from literal hell. That would be pretty epic. The bell is part of a transportation method that brings the cenobites to our world, seemingly almost against their will. They don't know when someone's going to open the box. Leviathan might. To page 145, and the bell is beginning to ring, tolling for her certainly, and a turmoil of wings nearby, a carnival of carrion birds. The bell was getting louder in her head. So on the next page, the bell is drowning out Frank's words. The bell is actually benefiting the character here. It's possible that the bell, or whatever life form is operating the bell or in charge of it, has some sort of compassion for the humans, which is very interesting. It's more likely that it's just interested in spreading out the suffering as long as demonly possible. We're almost at the end of the book, guys. 157. A second later, the bell began, and the bare bulb in the middle of the room began to flicker to light. Another chime, and he was up, and would have been at her, but for the voice. The bell, the ominous tolling. I don't even notice it. Completing the puzzle box. Presses play on the fun.
Presses play on the fun.
Presses play on the fun jewelry box, almost daring you to continue.
It is after that the box implores you further to lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. Game. Sense of time and space are no longer important to you. They're gone to you, and you will ignore all else. Suddenly, feeling your body vibrating. A bell shaking your world apart, and standing in front of you are the cenobites. They've arrived to give me what I want, to give you what you want, and so much more. Music is a central part to this story. To the Cenobites, it is both the gate and the key. When they hear it, they know that they are about to enter Earth. When the opener of the box hears it, they lose their sense of time and space and coffee, and become obsessed, entangled with completing the puzzle, which I can easily do. About you. Leave it go. It is a warning and a calling, a comforter and a confuser, a demon to some, angel to others. very complex.